Well, to this point, we've been speaking in general terms, and I always think that it's helpful to look at an actual real-life example, what's actually happening with some families. We get a lot of these situations that I want to show you guys right now, and this was a family from this past year who had a very talented student, okay? This daughter was, I think, second in her class, tremendous SATs, very involved in the community, kind of the whole package. And she was hell-bent on going to AMHERST College. And her parents, I think they hired us, beyond anything else, to help them tell her that she can't apply to AMHERST because they can't afford $70,000 a year. And we said, well, we're happy to work with you, but we're not gonna talk her out of that. Let's go ahead and apply everywhere and see how this plays out. Well, they were pushing for UMass Amherst because they just saw that sticker price of $23,000 and said, these are Massachusetts residents, so that was roughly the in-state cost for UMass. And they said, all right, we can try to make that happen, even though it was still gonna be a big stretch. 70,000, forget it. But we did in fact apply to both, okay? And this family's family contribution was about 15,000, okay? So if we go back to that original equation, we know that we have to deduct that EFC from the school's cost of attendance to see our eligibility for need-based aid. Well, we have this huge gap, this huge differential at Amherst College, right? There's a $55,000 swing between our family contribution and their cost of attendance. Whereas UMass, we're a lot closer, right? So we're only, in this case, about $8,000 away between our EFC and their cost of attendance. Well, what does it mean? How much are we actually gonna pay at each of these schools? How much do they actually end up paying? Well, the first thing that we want to know at these particular colleges is what percentage of need do you meet? Now UMass, and I'm not throwing UMass under the bus, okay? These are most state schools. They don't meet 100% of need, okay? On average, they meet about 60% of need, but we want to know a little bit more than that. We want to know, how do these colleges meet need? Because in UMass's case, it's not all in free money. That doesn't mean they meet 60% in what we call gift aid, because there's another type of financial aid that colleges use, and it's what a term that they use is self-help financial aid. What's self-help financial aid? It's a sexy term for loans, okay? So they're giving us money, but we got to pay it back. So the net result at UMass was that they, of course, had to come up with their family contribution, but then they had to come up with the unmet need, which in this case was roughly another $3,000. So their all-in cost to attend UMass was about $18,000, okay? So what happened at Amherst? What happened at this $70,000 school that their parents wanted us to talk them out of to even applying? Well, Amherst College meets 100% of need. They meet it all in gift aid. So this family, their family contribution was $15,000. That's what they paid. That's their bottom line. And what's the end result? The $70,000 college ends up being $3,000 more affordable than the $23,000 college. So what's the takeaway here? The takeaway is we do not want to rule a school out just because of what it appears to cost. That's usually the third most important variable. It's all about what is our EFC, and of course, how do we get it down as low as possible? And then now let's target colleges that meet 100% or at least a very high percentage of need. That's what's going to determine how affordable or not affordable a college is going to be for our family.
So we show you these case studies because they happen more times than not, okay? The case study Matt showed you with a family that has a high amount of need and a high merit student, a lot of times they miss out on opportunities because they're only honed in on that sticker price, okay? But what about if we're a family who doesn't demonstrate need? How does that affect us? How does that play a role in our school selection? I want to walk you through a scenario where we have a family who does not qualify for need-based financial aid, a low-need, high-merit family. Okay, and this was a student of mine, a client of mine, from a few years ago, and they were looking at Colgate versus Case Western. Okay, the student was excellent, thinking about engineering. This is how the results kind of played itself out. At Colgate, they're $70,000 a year. Okay, this particular family had an EFC well north of $70,000, so there's no demonstrated need there. Okay, over at Case Western, they're $65,000 a year, so very close. Okay, same thing, their EFC is well north of 70, so no demonstrated need. At Colgate though, they don't offer any merit scholarships. So at Colgate,